Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chesswise. Today we are at the next topic, that is the exchange sacrifice. We are at the second example of our topic. This is a very famous example which we have got here. It's white to play position, and we see that white has ideally placed his pieces behind the mass of pawns. The white pawns are trying to advance in this position, and white played the move knight g3. This position is taken from a very famous analysis by Philidor, and we see that how the pawns are used to create attack, or the pawn mass itself when in the center can be very effective. So black goes with the strong move here, knight e3. Not only is the knight well placed, but it is cutting across the rook's support to the e5 pawn. And now white has to really see what he can do to get the pawn move f5, because after knight e3, e5 will be hanging if white tries to play f5 instantly. So this is the point where white decided to sacrifice the exchange. He went with the move rook e3, d3, queen e3. Technically speaking, white has not sacrificed much. He has just given his exchange for knight and pawn, which is not such a big sacrifice, we would say. And we see that white is already threatening to go f5. But many would point out that now a2 and b3 are hanging, they are weak. So black can take rook a2 now, when white will be simply an exchange down. True, but see the power of this bishop and the connected pawns which are all set to advance. Black plays rook a2. Now again f5 is met by queen into e5. So white plays re1. Very important maneuvering. The rook supports the pawn on e5, and now soon we will see white is going to get the move f5. Black went queen b3. Queen has not only taken the pawn, but the queen might become active later on from the b2 or the d5 squares. We follow some interesting analysis here. White plays qe4, attacking the pawn on g6. So the threat is queen g6 check, king h8, qh7 checkmate. So black goes qe6, supporting the pawn on g6, and also keeps eye on the e5 pawn. Black had calculated the line here. After f5, which white should play here, then comes gf5, gf5, and the move qd5. This was black's main idea. Not only he is trying to trade the queens here, but if the queen moves away, for instance qg4 check, king h8, then d3 is hanging and there is mate on the g2 square. This could be the reason why black had decided to take on b3. But what we see here, white, in spite of being exchanged down, he trusts the power of these passed pawns here and trades the queens. After qd5, cd5, white first drives the knight on d7 with the move bb5. We can say that he is not in any hurry to regain the material, but he is trying to drive the knight away when the power of these passed pawns will be clear. So knight moves away, knight b6. White has choice between moving his e pawn or the f pawn, but as per the rule, white should play f6. The bishop is capable of controlling the white squares e6 and f7, so the pawns remain on the opposite color. And now an interesting phase takes place where white's pawns show their power and white is able to win the game very easily. After rook b2, first forcing the bishop away, there comes bishop d3. Bishop wants to keep eye on the e6 and the f7 squares, for which the square f5 or g6 will be very handy. Now black plays king f7, first stopping the move bg6. So white goes bishop f5. Controlling the square on e6, he wants to play e6 soon, and the knight wants to go to h5. Another point is king f7 threatened rook g8. So white can block the g5 with the move bg4. The bishop will serve two purposes. One, it will block the black's rook attacking on the g5, and e pawn will be ready to go to the e6 square. So bishop provides support to that square, and we see king e6 is also stopped. So king is not allowed to block the pawn on e5. Black plays knight c4, knight h5, rook g8 check, bishop g4. Black's play also is very good here. Black goes with the move knight d2. We can see that already now e6 was unstoppable and black is trying to create his own threat. There is a rook and knight apparatus which operates on the 7th rank. Just to show you, black can threaten in many lines: rook g4, hg4, knight f3 check, king f1, and if the rook is not hanging, still there is knight h2 check, kg1, knight f3, kf1, which gives him a drawn game at least. Of course, white goes e6 check. After king f8, e7 is good, but white should perhaps play knight g7 first, stopping knight f3 and all. There is no rook g4 check now, and soon e7 followed by e8. So this will not allow black king to create blockade in front of the white pawns. After kg6, white goes f7, rook f8, and now comes knight f4 check. It's almost game over now. Pawn is about to reach e7. If the king goes to h7, there can be bf5 check or e7. So king f6, but as we can see, kf6 allows knight d5 to come with the check. Hence kg7 is the better candidate, and here white just uses bishop h5. Keeping the f3 square guarded, he mainly supports the pawn on f7, after which we see that there is no defense to the move e7, and black is lost over here. In this case, we saw how white sacrificed the exchange to push his passed pawns, get adequate compensation for the exchange. I hope you are finding these positions useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.